Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to be learning how to cut and sew a ruched waist gown with placket and collar. If this sounds like what you would love to learn, then watch to the end. So I would like to appreciate you for always watching my videos. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. And please, if you have not subscribed, please click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. That the importance of the notification bell is so that you can be notified anytime I upload a new video. So without wasting much time, let's get into the tutorial. So on my fabric, I folded my fabric into 4 so that we can cut both back and front at the same time. So the lines that I've drawn already here, they are the shoulder line, the chest line, the waistline, and the hip line. These are the lines that are already on my fabric. So this shoulder line, the first thing I will do is to mark half of my shoulder measurement. So half of my shoulder measurement is 6.75, so I'm going to mark 6.75 right here. Then I'm going to add ½ inch for ease because I don't want it to be too tight. Then the next thing I want to mark is to mark the same thing that I marked here. I'll mark it here too. Okay, so I'll draw this into a straight line. Okay, so let's curve our armhole. Okay, before that, let's put in our neckline. So because this is going to be having like a mandarin collar, we're going out. The neckline I'm going to use will be I want to use 3.25, or let's use 3 inches. 3 inches we do 3 inches by 3 inches. Since it's going to have a collar, I want the collar to sit perfectly on my neck, so I'm going to use 3 by 3. Then I'm going to drop my shoulder down. For the front, I'll drop my shoulder down by 1.5, and for the back, I'll drop it down by 1 inch. This is because our shoulder is not slanted equally for both front and the back. So let me connect these lines. After connecting this line, I want to curve my armhole. So what I will do for the back armhole, I'm going to take everything I have and I'll divide it by 2. I'll get the midpoint. Then I'll come in by ½ inch. Then I'll impute quarter of my bust measurement. Then I'll add 2 inches ease. So my bust measurement is 35 inches. So 35 divided by 2 will give me 17.5. So let me add 1 inch ease for the bust. It will give me 18.5. So if I divide this 18.5 into 2 again, I will get 9.25. So I'm going to mark 9.25 here. Then I'll add 1 inch sewing allowance. Then I'll come to my, okay, let's just curve the armhole. So I'm just going to connect from this part to this part that we came in by ½ inch. Then I'll connect from here to here. Okay, so after we cut this front armhole, I'll mark the back. After we cut the back armhole, this is the back armhole. Okay, let me just mark the front armhole. For you to get the front armhole, just go up by 2.5 for a small size, but if you're a big size, you can use 3 inches. So I'm going to go up by 2.5. Then I'll come in by 0.75. So this is what I'll connect. So you take note of which one is the front armhole and which one is the back armhole. Okay, so that is done. The next thing I want to do is to mark my waist measurement. But because we're going to be putting a casing, we're going to be putting a rope at the waistline, so I'm going to use my hip measurement. So my hip is 40 divided by 2 will give me 20. So I'm going to add 2 inches to the for ease. so that I can have enough to gather at the waistline. So if I add 2 inches, it's going to give me 22. So this 22 divided by 2 will give me 11. I hope you understand what I'm doing. So I'll mark 11 at the waistline. Then I'll add 1 inch sewing allowance. So this same thing, I'm going to mark it at the hip line and at the hemline too. So I'm marking 12 all together plus the sewing allowance, that's 12. At the hemline too, I'm going to mark 12 inches. I hope you understand what I did. So let's connect all these lines together. So on the hemline, I'm going to come up by 6 inches because I want it to have like an S shape downward here. So I'm going to do it like this. You see, this is the style line I want for the hem. So this is how I'm just going to cut it out. Okay, since we are cutting the back first, we have not marked the back neckline. So the back neckline is going to be 1 inch. The back is going to be 1 inch. The depth and the width is going to be the same, 3 inches. So I'm going to connect this 1 inch. We're cutting the back first, so let's take care of the back before we move to the front. So I'm going to add my sewing allowance now. Okay, so I've added my sewing allowance. I added on the neckline. This is the 1 inch for the neckline. I added half inch, half inch, half inch. So let's cut out. Okay, so we have cut out for the back. All I will do is to remove one of the piece because that will serve as the back. Then we'll work on the front. We'll trace out the front. We'll add the sewing allowance for the front armhole. You know, this armhole for the front is different from the back, even for the shoulder slope. So I'll add then for the neckline too. So we'll work on the front now. I've removed the back aside. So now I'm cutting the neckline for the front, the shoulder slope, and the armhole. So guys, this is the front and this is the back. So I'll keep the back aside. Now we'll work on the front. The front is where we are going to have the placket. So I'm going to press the center front line to give us a crease line so that we can work on our placket. So let me press it, then we'll continue. So it's time to fix our placket. So for you to fix your placket, you create a crease line on your fabric. This is my front fabric. Then you get another fabric that you want to use for the placket. So you determine the length that you want your placket to be. For me, I want the length of my placket to be 9 inches. So if you want it to be 9 inches, you're going to add 2 more inches. So altogether, this fabric, the length is 11 inches and the width is 6 inches. You see it? That's the length of this, the length and width of this fabric. So the next thing you will do, you create a crease line too on this. You create a crease line in the middle. So you mark ½ inch on both sides of the crease line. This is the crease line. Then I marked ½ inch here, ½ inch here. You see it? Then you mark that point where you want your placket to reach. Mine, I want it to reach 9 inches, but the length of this is 11 inches, like I said. So after you do this, what you do, you bring this your placket facing, you place it in the middle. Let the crease line of this one be matching up with the crease line that you created on the fabric. So you place them like this. You see it? You place them like this. Then you go to your sewing machine and sew on this ½ inch that you marked here. You sew straight down. Then you get to that point where you want your placket to reach, that 9 inches. Then you sew it like this. You sew like this. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Then you come up again and sew on this ½ inch line. Let me take it again. You start sewing from here. You move like this straight on this line. Then you go like this. You see it? You cross the line like this. Then you sew up again. So let me do that, then come back to show you what next to do. I've gone ahead to sew it. You can see it. And I didn't tell you, please make sure you pin it before you start sewing. Pin them together. And I attached it with my right side, the right side of the facing. is facing the wrong side of my dress. You see it? This is the right side of the facing. It's facing the wrong side of my dress. That's how I fixed it. So I'll remove my pins now. After removing your pins, the next thing you want to do is to slash through the center line, that crease line that you made. Just slash through it. That's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so let's slash through that center line, the crease line that you made. So when you get to where you sew, you see this line that we sewed, that the 9 inches where we want our placket to reach. When you get to that point, you stop. Then you notch diagonally. You notch to this side, you notch to this side. I hope you can see what I'm doing. When you get to that line, don't cut through the line. Then you just notch to this point and notch to this point. You see it? Then what you do next, you just take it to the front. You can see what we have. This is what we have now. So what we are going to do, we're going to I'm going to press here. I'm going to press here with 1/2 inch. You see this side? After turning it out like this, you press 1/2 inch because we want to sew it. We want to sew this part like this. You take the sewing, you take the allowance in like this, then you press like this and sew it on top. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. So for it to be easy for me, I'm going to press here. I'm going to press in 1/2 inch here, and this other side too. I'm going to press in 1/2 inch. So let me press it so that it's going to be easy for us to fold on it. So like I said, I've gone ahead to press the 1/2 inch. You see it? You see it? I pressed it. I just folded it. I folded this one too. You see it? 1/2 inch, and I pressed it. So now we can turn it to the right side. This is still the wrong side. You see it? Where we sew it, still the wrong side where we sew it. So now let's take it to the right side. Okay, so now we're on the right side. This thing is very easy. It might look confusing, but it's very easy. If you take it one step at a time, the way I'm taking it, you get it. So now on the right side, this is the right side now. So what you do, you know, the placket is divided into two now. Since we open the center, it's divided into two. So what you do, the first one, this 1/2 inch that we folded here, you're just going to take it and fold this place, this 1/2 inch that we sew here, take it in and place this folded one that we folded here, place it on top like this. You see it? Just place it. Let it just sit on top of the seam. Let it just sit on top of this line that we sew. So this is how you do it. So we are going to go to the machine and sew it. You will sew it up to this point that we sew here, this 9 inches that we sew, this point here, that's where you will sew and leave it. You leave it like that. You come to this other side too. You take it in and place this one on top of it, on top of the seam. Then you sew again and stop at that 9 inches. You see it? After you stop on the 9 inches, then you bring them over each other. Let me just go and hold both of them. Okay guys, so you see I've sewn it. Look at what it's looking like now. So the next thing to do is to cut. You can see this place, there is too much fabric, there is bulk of fabric. If we sew it down like this, it will be too bulky and it will not be okay. So what you do, you raise this top one up and you cut the lower one. Just watch what I'm going to do. So I'm going to cut it here. So I'll cut this block of fabric off. See it. Then I'll go to my sewing machine and sew this part down. You see it. I'll go to my sewing machine, then I'll fold this edge. I'll fold it in like this. You can make any design you want. If you want it to be a triangle, you can make this place a triangle. So you just go to your sewing machine and stitch this part. You stitch like this, stitch here, then stitch up and stop at that 9 point, or you can go up a little bit with like half of an inch. So let me go and do this, then come back. I'm going to just stitch from here like this, fold here in, stitch here, come back and stitch here to hold everything in place. So let me do that. See what we have. I've sewn it down. You can see it. I've sewn it down. You can see it looking so beautiful. So now we are going to go ahead to fix our, okay, let's join the shoulders. I'll bring the back so that we can join the shoulders. So our placket is neatly done now. You see it. So let me bring the back. So now I'll place the back over it. We'll join the shoulders so that we can get the round neckline so as to cut our collar. I'm still thinking if I should use a collar or a band, like a piping. I don't know what I want to do yet, but we'll decide what we are going to do. So I'm going to put it over it like so, then I'll join the shoulders. I'll join the shoulders. So let's join the shoulders, then measure around what we have. So I've joined it by the shoulder. You can see it. So what next to do is to pipe the neckline. I'll just pipe it. So I got a strip. The width of the strip is 1.5. So I'm just going to use it as a bias. Then I'll use it to pipe the neckline. You see it. I'll pipe it from one end to another, to the second end. So let me go and pipe it. This is the strip. So let's pipe it. See what we have here. See, our neckline has been neatly piped. You can see it. So the next thing we want to do is to shape. I have to shape the side. Put your measurement, put your bust measurement, your waist measurement, your hip measurement, and just shape it. Let me shape mine, then I'll come back to show you how to fix the casing, the waist casing for the rope. Okay guys, so I've shaped the sides. You can see it. So the next thing we want to do is to mark where we want our ruched waistline to be. So I've marked mine. This is it. I use my half length, which is 16. So that's where my ruched waistline is going to be. So what I'll do next is I'll get a piece of fabric. The width of the piece of fabric is 2 inches. 2 inches. Then the length is going to be what will go around your waist, this waist. So what I'll do is the starting point, I'll fold it so that this place can be neat. Then I'll place it ½ inch before my crease line. You know there's a crease line here, which is the center. So before the center, I'll leave ½ inch. Then I'll start sewing. I'll sew round and come back to this crease line again. I'll stop ½ inch before the crease line. Then after sewing it, I'll now fold it down. I'll fold it over like this. After folding it over, then I'll fold ½ inch in. Then I'll top stitch. What we are trying to do is to create a casing. That our rope will pass through. So I will top stitch round it. After top stitching, we'll see that we have created a casing. Then we'll now pass a rope through it so that we can draw it to form the drawstring on the waist. I hope you understand that. Then I'll fix my sleeve. Then we are done with the tutorial. So let me quickly do this. Fix my sleeve. Okay guys, this is the final look of the dress. This is my placket. You can see it. Then this is my ruched waist. This is the place I said I was going to sew. So I started sewing from here and I sew round to this place, and I left the center where the rope is going to pass through. So I use my safety pin. To pass this rope. I made the rope. The rope is about 0.75 inch wide. So I passed it through the casing that we created. This is the casing we created on the waistline. So I passed the rope through it. I used my safety pin to pass it. So this is the ruched waistline. You can see it. So you just tie it. See our dress is looking beautiful. Then just fix any sleeve of your choice. This is the sleeve that I chose to fix. I hope you found value in this tutorial. If you do, please give us a thumbs up, and if you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please join the family. Thank you so much, and drop us a comment. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.